All right, and welcome back to another session, and hopefully you're having a great day today. As we've been talking about the last few sessions, well, we've been focusing a lot on patience, and we've talked about the importance of patience, when it comes to our health, the importance of patience just in life, how life is going to give us, opportunities to be patient and develop patience. Now, it seems though that oftentimes an area, or rather a location where we need to have more patience is at home. Whether that's with kids or if you're married with your spouse, but especially if you're a parent, if you're married, having patience with children is something that's incredibly important, and that's really what we want to focus on today. Is that you have 8 children. How does one develop, I guess, more patience with children? And I guess let's talk about that, having patience with children.
Well, we have to remember, no, that if you have a little kid, a toddler, a 3-year-old kid, and you have an adolescent, it means that you rarely, you're gonna move as quickly, no? So as you want things to go. So now this can bring our impatience because we're being blocked by our own goals and our objectives, for that particular day, no. So this is why we need to stop and examine. Now, we need to examine ourselves because, the problem really mostly on us, okay? Not as much in our kids or our spouse. So one of the things that I noticed, as a father through time, of course, it takes you time. You don't have a book to explain you this, okay? We noticed that we normally have daily goals. We gotta go to school, drop them off, go to work, cook, clean, everything you're planning, and we want to everything be timely, so we all do that. So, and I noticed, after some the effect of my impatience and how that just emerge sometimes, without expecting, So, and I start noticing that the results of the outcome in the relationship and the way how things were going and the emerging of impatience. So it was, I started asking myself, why is this happening? If we all want to go to a trip and we were planning to go on vacation, why they become so slow, or they don't listen, or they don't put their shoes, or some of them appear to be more like with a sense of resistance to follow instructions. No. So through time, I noticed that it was mostly about me. So it was about my goal, my timing, my perspective, in fine, so this was mainly what I noticed. It was a tradition, because I'm repeating a tradition, and a tradition that comes with a view of being a parent, and everything that I was taught, and the learning and that's coming, through everywhere, the place where we're born, the family we live, teachers and the environment. So everything we do about parenting is about these ideas, and they're based on expectation. It's about ourselves, our own boundaries, and our desire for the outcome. So we want certain outcomes for our kids, but these always lead us to impatience because the kids, we think they get in the way, for our expectation. We have to be out of the house at a certain time. We go on vacation, imagine, we go on vacation, we arguing about this. So we have expectation. There are so many desires, and goals, So really, in my own situation was that my view of parenting, it was what is contributing to impatience. And that caused in many times that the kids, they distance from myself. So that's one thing that I recognize. And we have to really try to see this. Kids are kids. They can distance themselves, okay? And we may not even notice. So important to know that kids can be emotional distant, because the kids know that they need to act around their parents in a certain way, so the parents can be happy, and then avoid reactions and the impatience of the kids. This is detrimental. Okay? So as a result, I found that some of my children were emotional distance, and this is not good, particularly if I want to really help, with environment. So we have to be aware, because this is a circumstance that really can be affected. So of course, we want to get in on bed on time. We want to eat on time, and this view, is part of these paradigms, that can make me rush them, eat quick, do this, do that, and as I reviewed, this behavior of mine, I noticed that it was hard for me to accept, because it's a little bit of pride. I'm older. I know what's best for my kids. Okay, so, but I noticed one thing, that as soon as I was more and more aware, that it was just selfishness. So, in terms of impatience, it's something that didn't disrupt the way. Okay. Really, I want my kids to be happy. I want to make an environment that it make us laugh and fulfill our aspiration. But this impatient thing, based on these ideas, that I have, that was based on my own selfishness, my goal, my paradigms about parenting. It was in the way. So really, what I was noticing is the focus was on me only, and it was a position of selfishness. I thought you have a comment on that, because you're a father. You're a father of 2 kids.
Yeah, well, going along with what you were saying, I found that for myself, when I've become impatient, it's like this desire, or stemming from this desire to control the situation, which, obviously, in certain situations, especially with children, with younger kids, you need to control the situation. If my daughter runs into the street, you have to react quickly. You have to, make sure she doesn't get hurt. But in other situations, like, why aren't you getting ready for bed? Why aren't you doing this? It is, as you were saying, because I have a certain expectation. When I reflect on it, it's really, I want you in bed by this time so that I can move on with my own, desires, with my own goals, my own whatever else I'm working on. It really has little to nothing to do with my actual children as much as me.
Yeah, I can tell you the truth. In my case, as a young father, when I started realizing that I was selfish, and of course I had to do my things. It's important that I continue with my own things that are related to work or doing something that was important for the entire family. But when I realized that I was being selfish, it hurts me, because I really want them to be happy and everything to work okay and fulfill our goals. But then I was acting in a way that was affecting the thing that was more important. So it is hard not to be compassionate and more loving with the kids when we have impatience. So I'm doing a little better after years. Okay. The problem with impatience is that we react. When we react, it's because we are frustrated. Okay. We're frustrated when we get angry. Really, it's about us. I get angry because I'm frustrated because my kid is not eating on time, not going on bed on time. So it is all about me. No, it's not about our kids. Okay. Now, of course, there are behaviors, okay, behaviors that take place. Sometimes the kids are very slow in helping with the kitchen. Slow to go into the car so we can go to the store or go on vacation, and we're running late. Okay, and those times is a time when we normally lose our patience. Okay, so, but it's from what I noticed, it was always my frustration. It was a feeling of being anger. Okay, as you have, because you have responsibility. I mean, for those. Okay, so when you feel impatient, in my case, when you feel impatient, one thing is for sure, anger builds inside, so you cannot avoid it. So impatience is related to this strong emotion, that is built through stress. So when that happens, and one thing that I recommend, that happened. Excuse me. Let me turn this phone off. Sorry.
Very good.
I apologize. So when we're yeah, I'm gonna turn this phone. Yep. I was talking about being angry if we're impatient. So when we're angry, we already know there is a problem. Every time we get angry, always it has to do with us. So we can probably step back a little bit, maybe breathe, do some breathing, or maybe walk out of the room for a minute, and do it to evaluate, do what's going on. So because we need to realize what is the emotional trigger that is making me upset. Because it's a danger to be upset and impatient, because we're going to attack. I mean, not the problem, but we're going to attack the child. Okay, yeah, because really the behavior of the child, it's not really the problem. So we might think perhaps this is true. No, so too often we attack as parents. We blame our impatience because we get frustrated and angry, for a kid or a spouse, and we blame them. We say, they are producing me this. No, so that's not really true. So step back. If you start feeling anger, because it's going to happen every time you're impatient, it's going to be anger, which means there are chemical stress, that actually is going to not make you think clearly. So if you move a little bit out of the situation and trying to understand what is it triggering this, okay, it might mean that maybe we have something going. We're a little bit broke in our heart, So, I mean, we don't want to become frustrated and angry with the kids or the spouse, But sometimes, they are also carrying the wounds that's inside, and the kids, they cannot interpret this. They cannot process it. They cannot communicate in a way, And if we, the adults, we're not having a way to deal with this, So, of course, we're going to create an environment that's going to continue a cycle between the pain, the hurt, the anger, that's triggered, which is not related to the spouse or the little kid, but it's triggered by something, that's really internal, that it creates this response. So it's not only selfishness about my goal to get on time. That's not the only thing. It's not only about timing. There's also things that we carry. They're hidden emotions that can trigger. Things that are not resolved. Something that's not been healed from the past that we carry. When this is the case, our kids, and the spouse can say something minor, and it trips off, so the pain emerges, and we suddenly our patient is blown right out the window. So that's the thing. We have to be aware, you know, of what's happening. So we're not actually blowing away an opportunity to communicate and be close to the children, the spouse. So we could say, yes, I want to go on time to this vacation. The plane is waiting for us. Okay, that's true. Or I want to go to bed early with the kids. And of course, that's true. It's part of your parenting, you know, thing. But the more you force, the more difficult it becomes. So, you know, maybe you're going to have to look at it and take responsibility and say, okay, you know, I started cooking late, or I didn't help my wife. Okay, so that's now is what we're eating late. Instead of kind of trying to rush the kids to, you know, things so I can fulfill my goal. No? So if we take the responsibility, and also if we look at this and remove ourselves from this paradigm, you know, that thing has to be rushed because I have this goal. I want to be a good father. The kids have to go to bed so they can be healthy. And of course, you know, in the middle of that, we create chaos through the process of enjoying a time of eating or doing something or going somewhere. So there's no benefits. I mean, no matter how much of a good intention is to achieve the goal, to get them healthy, going to sleep early, have this vacation, and the frustration and distance that's going to occur, you know, is going to affect. That's one part. The other part is, again, it's normally there is something not resolved in ourselves that if we carry when the kids say something or they're too slow to eat or too slow to put their shoes, I mean, or they say something, I mean, they could tell you something, Dad, you know, I don't love you, okay? Or Dad, why you get angry? So anything, or Dad, can you give me a glass of water? Or can you read me again the book, okay? Dad, why are you not playing with me? So some of these things could trigger, okay? And it's not what the babies say or the adults say or the adolescents say, because an adolescent can tell you that you're cruel, okay? You're foolish. So that could happen. And the fact that they express in a way, according to the age, that doesn't mean that that's necessarily the problem, okay? Mm-hmm. So these other things have been not solved from the past that are, you know, unhealing wound that we carry. So maybe we having some issue with the spouse that we haven't resolved, and now we're taking it to the kid. No, or maybe there's an issue at work, or maybe it's something that has to do with finances, or maybe there's mistakes I'm making and I'm carrying. I'm not really resolving it. So that is deep inside there. I mean, we can't hide these things. I mean, no matter how much we want to ignore them, okay, they are there. They're part of the memory of our brain, our body. So we have to be, you know, honest with ourselves. You know? So take a break for a second, move out of the room as you have to, you know, and say, okay, what is triggering this? I'm getting upset because I'm getting impatient. Is it anything else besides the fact that I want to go to bed early? Maybe it's the fact that I didn't help my wife because I stayed playing video game. No, or maybe I feel that working was more important than, you know, helping with the dishes or peeling the potato. No, to help with dinner. So, or perhaps, you know, it's, you know, I've been lying to my boss. I've been cheating at work, okay, and you know, I don't like that. I'm not that kind of person, but I'm not been reconciling this. So, and that can be carry. It's just like little extra work, heavy burden that we don't have to carry, no? Because all we have to do is just reconcile it. If it's an issue with the wife, talk to her. If it's at work, you know, make the changes you need to make. I'm sorry, and don't continue targeting your child or your spouse on something that eventually is going to come back to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Like you were saying, when we are having these feelings of impatience, it's not really, as we've been saying, it's not, it really does not have anything to do with your kid. I was just remembering a few times, especially last year, 2020, with COVID pandemic, things financially got really tight. And I remember there were a few times where I was, impatient with my daughter because she said, "Oh, I want to play with you," or come play with me, or come do this. And I was impatiently saying, "No, I have to go work. I have to go do," And it had nothing to do with her. It was my own insecurity about, making sure we could pay the bills. It had nothing to do with her. Nothing to do about, with her, wanting to play. It had nothing to do with whatever else I had put in my mind or had said. It was all just my own personal insecurities about our personal finances.
Yeah, and doing that is important when we admit it. No, so if that's an area that we having difficulties, we have to admit it. No, so we need to stop and admit and accept the frustration. No? And accept that this is not the kid, not the spouse, the one that's creating. No, it lies on me. No, so number two, be sure that you humble yourself. That's the next step. So this is the only way how we can break through the selfishness. So being humble, examining ourselves, examining our heart. No, so that will help understand what's really going on inside.
Yeah.
Number three, identify what triggers it. What else? As you mentioned, I was more worried about finances, but I didn't really was handling well, and I was taking this from my kid. No. Mm-hmm. So now you have a comment.
Yeah, and real quick, something I've actually done with my oldest daughter. My youngest doesn't understand yet, but when I have had these moments, I've tried to, once I recognize them, I will apologize to her, and I'll let her know, "I'm sorry, Daddy was just feeling stressed. Like it had nothing to do with you. I was feeling stressed in that moment," and kind of letting her know, that was not her, which has actually been interesting because now it's like she recognizes when I'm stressed, if I'm ever feeling stressed. Because sometimes I might not even say anything, but she says, "Daddy, are you stressed?" And even recently, I was feeling stressed about something. I wasn't talking to anyone. I was on my computer feeling kind of stressed about something. And then out of her own, by herself, she goes and grabs her one of her stuffed animals, gives it to me, and says, "Daddy, you're stressed. Just hold this stuffed animal. It'll make you feel better." Which it actually did. I felt just so much better. Just
This kid, she's only 4. Imagine, sometimes we don't really comprehend the dimension, the ability that kids have to feel what the parents feel, and they also have ways to cope with the issues. They play, they laugh, they jump, they eat. They go and play again, they sleep, they jump, they do things, they come and help. So this is the beauty and the purity of these kids. So, and we need to really understand that too. We need to be willing to listen. So we have to put ourselves too on the kids' position. Okay, that means that not thinking of ourselves, our goals, our objectives, our plans. We need to stop. Okay, so we can see through the other person's side. It doesn't matter if he's 15 years old, 20 years old, 2 years old. So that's important. Now, the thing we need to understand too is that if we're impatient, okay, in all the situation, only do make things worse. So if we get frustrated, okay, and upset, what really often happens is kids get upset and they push back. Okay, mm-hmm. And there's different ways how they do it. Sometimes they do it by being resistant to really put the shoes on, or cook, or eat, or help, or go to bed. No. So if we don't do this well, we're gonna be on the bottom. No. Who's more powerful? No, and we're taking more time than really is needed. So it is like like a game, no, for us. So it's been found that if we listen and we understand and we hear, we can get a lot more than we can imagine. So if we lose our patience, just because we want to get there, or push the kid away, because that's what we do. We don't want it to talk. We don't want it to ask anything. We want it to rush. We want it out of our face. And sometimes, that's what we're trying to do. So you mentioned something, Ulysses. No? The kids can look through an eye to the world, which is so wonderful. So if we stop and really look at the world through the kid's eye, that helps increase her patience.
It really does.
Yeah. I mean, look what you did. She brought you a toy, and that is a way how you stop, look at it, and just embrace what she was feeling. No, she knows that you need that. So it was a action, a compassion towards you. No, and it helped you. You embrace the toy, and it makes you feel better. Okay, so we can do the same with our kids and our spouse.
For sure. And no matter if you're religious, if you're not, what your religion is, there's a whole lot of wisdom I found now being a parent from the teaching that you should become as a child that Jesus Christ taught. Because children, oftentimes, they do see things in a way that we just don't see. Like again, the stuffed animal thing, even just being able to perceive that I was not feeling good at that moment, and just understanding that, like, yeah, I understand children, they don't have the understanding of like a 30-year-old or a 50-year-old, 60-year-old, but oftentimes it's that simplicity of seeing life, and not even just the simplicity, but actually seeing the beauty in life. It's like seeing the beauty in a stuffed animal. Seeing my my daughter the other day with Celeste, we were driving and we were passing by a few gas stations, and she saw it was like the third gas station. She's like, "Oh my goodness, it's another gas station! It's so beautiful!" Like, it's a gas station.
Oh my goodness, it's just amazing what they can do. See, sometimes we lose the sense of reality because our mind gets so much busy, and we start embracing things that are not even true. I mean, these things can get rooted in our heart, and it becomes so difficult really to be ourselves, to enjoy what's available to us. And that make a lot of confusion. We become so confused. Sometimes a skewed mind we have, or our mind is always jumping everywhere, trying to get there and here, no? And we lose clarity and discernment to really see what's true and what's not true. Mm-hmm. And that brings a lot of problems. Now, we can become so addicted to these behaviors that affect our life. And imagine on the life of a innocent child that is full of aspirations and embracing life and recognizing the beauty of everything. And it's right there in the center of the home where is the darkness. A father or a mother that is so concerned with their own things. I mean, of course, we have to do things and achieve things and move forward for growing. But when we are in such an imbalance, the perspectives and priorities are not put in their place, so it becomes a problem. No, the poor little child, I mean, it's just in the middle of the chaos. So I done that before. Luckily, I recognized what happened and make some shifting and changes. So it takes time. It's not like black and white. No, you can be turned around and become the best father, the best husband. No? It's a process, but we don't have to justify anything by saying, "Oh, I'm this way." No, we humans are that way. No, we humans are not that way. Look at a little child; it's not that way. Okay, And we owe and we're responsible to be sure that we create the best of the environment. Doesn't mean that we're going to avoid them from having pain and dealing with challenges, because you're still going to make mistakes, and they're going to deal with your mistakes. And if it's an open conversation and emotional connection, those things are learning experiences. Everybody move forward with growth. So, but this is the best favor we can make to this world. No, be sure that we create an environment for the child, so they can continue doing what they're doing. No, seeing the beauty. No, contributing. No, healing the sick and the wounded. In that moment when you share it, you don't have a moment of wound, whatever it was. No, under stress, the little girl recognized, because we have the ability to see the pain. And he came to you and asked you, "Oh, Dad, are you under stress?" No, that's an innocent, sincere, real, open conversation, vulnerability, and then, she noticed, and then she go, "Oh, wait, let me go here." So she moved toward compassion. She felt and followed the feeling. She didn't stop and say, my dad is a big man, he doesn't play with toys, or he's too smart and he works with the computers, he's not going to listen to me. No. She went and brought a little toy and said, "Dad, hug this. It's going to make you feel better." She gave you a solution. She's not a psychologist, a psychiatrist, having gone through 20 years of neuroscience, but she gave you something, an amazing moment. Okay, and if we learn these things, and we can learn this through our spouses, our children, the neighbor, a young person, and an adolescent. Okay, I hope the bark is not bothering many people there, but anyways, okay, a little bark come my way. But it's time to practice patience as we listen to these talks. So it's an amazing world, and we are literally emptying something valuable, the possibility of seeing the resources by keeping ourselves with these, crazy thoughts and beliefs, and being so stirred about it. No, I gotta get there. No, I gotta do this, because if I not do this, I'm not gonna be happy. No, my kid has to go to bed at a certain time and eat a certain time, or I'm not gonna be happy. No, that's a sign that there is so many issues there. Not only in terms of the beliefs I have about parenting, which is wrong, but also about, a lack of clarity about what's in my mind. No, what is moving me to the frustration, to see what is really happening in me. So we can do all these things and just practice. No, stop trying to accept the fact that it's not the kid the problem, or your spouse. Okay, then accept that as you're responsible too. The feeling of frustrations and anger is yours. No, trying to find out what else is there, what kind of wounds are not being healed. Okay, so you kind of look at it and work with those things instead of going back to the kid and pushing and saying words that might hurt, and or create the environment that may affect your kid, and not only mentally but also with their health.
Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned earlier about having humility, I think it's important because none of us are perfect parents. There's no such thing as a perfect parent, at least not no one who's alive is a perfect parent. And I think as we're working on, if you're working on, I'm still working on patience. It's a lifelong development. I think it's important to have that humility and let your children know, hey, I'm trying to work on this. Just so Daddy might have some slip ups, but just so I'm trying to work on this, and letting them and apologizing when you do become impatient, because I think that is important for children to see that you are. That's not behavior that you want to move, that you don't want that behavior to continue with them.
Yeah. And listen to the kid, because maybe the kid might tell you, okay, so you're apologizing, but you're not changing. Pay attention, because maybe we used to apologize and not making any effort in trying to change the behavior. So we have to be humble, as you mentioned, to listen. Okay. And even if a kid, if it's a young person or a kid, tells you, Daddy, you're a bad person. Okay. So if you have internal resources and you're changing, you can actually listen and ask your kid, okay, son, okay, I listen to you, but tell me, why am I that bad? And be letting talk, because maybe it's something that you haven't noticed about your own behavior that your kid had noticed. No, just let him talk and say that I hear you lying the other day on the phone, and that made me feel bad. Or I hear that you lied to my mom, or you told me to keep this secret from mom. So just listen. Okay? This may not be the way how some people live like, or a portion of society live by. Some people think that these lies are okay, won't harm, but it does really harm. And we have to really be aware. Now, the other part, if you're tired, because sometimes we don't sleep well for some reasons, we have to go to the airport and pick up Uncle Larry and drop him off. Of course, if I sleep 4 hours, 3 hours, so I didn't have a good night's sleep. Okay, sleep 6 hours, need more. Of course, you're going to be irritated. It's part of the imbalance of your hormones due to this limited number of hours sleep. So you're going to have to be very direct with your kids and tell them, no, listen, I don't feel good today. I sleep only 5 hours yesterday. So if I sound irritated, it's not about you. Now, maybe if you give me a little space, okay, so I can deal with this, maybe I just be honest and tell them. Don't try to be a superhero, because it's going to come back to you. If you haven't slept well, nobody can really feel good, even if you trying to believe that you are indestructible. No. I mean, of course, if you are hyperactive, you may have a lot of adrenaline. That doesn't mean you're healthy. No. Even if you sleep 5 hours, 4 hours, and you're hyperactive, adrenaline is going to go to the roof as soon as you wake up, and you're going to have energy. I mean, doesn't mean you're healthy. No. So, but nevertheless, not many people do that. Some people live that way. But if that's not the case and you feel low energy because of something, or you have a pain, let's say you got a bruise and it's bothering you, or you have a toothache. I mean, tell your kid, tell your spouse, I have this pain, it's bothering me. Okay, it's nothing personal. So if I look a little on the edge, it's not about you. Okay, and when you do this, don't complain, no, because sometimes we complainers always complaining about things. And if I tell my kid, I didn't sleep well last night, he's going to think, oh, another complaint. Okay. And he's going to create more irritation. So trying to stop from complaining about your pain and your life and the situation, because that is something nobody wants to deal with. Your kids are going to distance themselves from you because they don't want to be around you. It's an awful feeling. I mean, imagine, Ulysses, you're my son and you have seen me in different situations. How much you like it when you were younger and I was on the rush. Not a good feeling, no? Or when I was upset, okay, or when I was complaining.
In general, you just don't want to be around anyone who's complaining.
Yeah, so whether you're upset, you're a complainer, or you're in the rush, okay, nobody want to be around you. So it's important that if we are live that way, okay, don't expect, and you start changing, don't expect your son just embrace you and say, oh my goodness, you're an angel now. Because in the brain is the images and the memories of the father that was, a rusher, a complainer, or whatever it was. No, So give it time. Give it time. Don't do this because you want to impress a child. No, do it, from your heart. This is something important for you, for your family, for everybody. So this is some tips, and I appreciate what you shared about Celeste and bringing you that little bear. What a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So let's accept the gift that people bring. A smile. Could it be a hug? Could it be a nod? Okay. It is a sense of an understanding of the extra burden we carry, and the person perhaps he wants to alleviate. So let's be grateful about that, and stop and receive the gift, just the way how you did it. No, and be sure that that's not stupid. Doesn't matter if it's a little toy coming from a kid or a little note, smile, or maybe somebody wants to help you.
Hey, thank you. And, I think this is just such a very important topic to continue on. So next time, I think it would be important to talk about the other portion of a household, which would be your spouse. And so I think next time we'll address this topic as it revolves around one spouse or one significant other. And yeah, well, hopefully these tips and this talk was valuable to everyone, and we will catch you next time.
Yeah, and we can reverse things. That's a good thing in the situations with the kids. We just need to really be more conscious of what's happening in our life, aware of our reactions. Thank you.